Sometimes people look at the years that they've not done much and they begin to think that there's nothing they can do. And yet there's so much more. You don't determine your tomorrow, it's God who does. And as long as your plan is in constant touch with God, it is Him that can transform what you've undone before. So if you learned some behaviors that have created a situation where you are, you can unlearn. And you can say, I'm a stem, I've grown too big, and I cannot turn this side. Definitely you can. And I think it doesn't matter what age you are. That's what is critical. Someone said that if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Essentially, that's most of the time. I know that many of us just are happy when it's New Year. We're just happy it is New Year. Then we scrape through the year. Then again, we're happy it's another New Year. Whatever happens, we don't even know. Do we jot down some goals and say, okay, this year I want to do this? How many do that? Like you write. You do. Do you write them down? You don't even write them. They just say it's there. Okay, that's very good. What I want us to learn to do is to write and keep looking at it. Let me tell you one thing. The biggest and the greatest mind that anyone God has given us is the subconscious. It's a very fertile mind. In fact, if you plant anything in the subconscious, you would not know. You'll be waking up finding that you are doing things that are towards what you've set in there. The reason why there is nothing is that what you put in the subconscious are daily shows. So you keep doing them, and when you meet them, you're happy. And that's all. Then the year passes by. And you find that you've done all these years, and they're happy to call you for funerals. And that's all. And when you go for funerals and marriages, they tick and say, there is a person. And at your age, they love you for such. You know, huh? You go for such, and I'm telling you, they'll always be happy to see you there because you're the elderly people that are there. Recently, I drove about 350 kilometers to a cousin of mine. They were bringing some plates for Lobola. So this young brother of mine, I mean, our mothers are sisters, he kept on saying, Mudala, Mudala is old. He's saying me. I think I was saying, I used to think the old people were supposed to come there. But now it is, I am the old. I said, this is not nice. I'm telling you, there's a song that was sung by a group in Lusaka. It says, it's in Bemba, it says, Kulomone. I don't know, my mother, she knows what that means. It means, grow up and you'll see. Actually, growing up is a trap. You realize that, man, so when I go to tell the youth, I said, you want to grow up, just wait, my friend. It's not nice. So when we want to do anything, we must learn to set specific targets and goals. The reason why we don't set any specific targets and goals is that we just live. We just live. There's nothing else. We just say, okay, tomorrow will come. And the other day will come. And we wait just for the wedding. And the next thing, if we wrote down and we look at them, they begin to be part of our subconscious. And even without us knowing, we begin to work towards that. 2014, I purchased a property, a piece of land. Now, I had learned one thing, that if I want to build, the first thing I did was that, okay, I want to do a state-of-the-art building here, 10 bedrooms, that intentionally I want to make as a lodge. So, and other buildings outside. So I call the guy, I say, come, I have bought a property. Let's go to the property. So I want you now to do a plan. 2014 when I started paying the first amount. Then he does, I pay, at the time, it was close to about $1,000 for the plan. So my wife was saying, how do you even pay? You are not even sure of ever building. So every morning, I'll look at it. Every morning, I'll look at it. 2018, my wife gets sick. She didn't want a big house. So she was very sick and she was in the hospital. Now, where my wife comes from, they don't know how to visit. They are Tongas. They all come. Yeah, you have tribes like this here. They all come. The mother, the sister to the sister, even those who are just related in a way, and the mother will bring all of them. And you'll find that they'll come and do all the things. They'll bath her in this kind of concoction. You walk in the bedroom, you find that your bathtub is dirty with something. They were washing her and all of those things. They are there. I mean, they're not that they were using concoction. I mean, they were just, my mother is she's an Adventist, a Douglas woman who likes herbs. So she likes following these herbs. She doesn't even like drinking. Actually, she'll love this camp where you're eating, there's no meat. Man, she'll be very glad with you. So now, I looked at two things when 2018 started. I said, one, in the night, I'm sleeping at the hospital. In the day, there are many people. It was like this. I mean, maybe quite like number like this. So I said, no, you know what, I'm here. What I'm going to do is that I can't stay the whole day here. You know, there are women. Yes, let me. So I started going to the plot. So at the plot, we started, okay, let's just do one line of the wall fence. We did the line, started building. I mean, she was sick. One, I said, she doesn't want the house. Then I said, yeah, I mean, this is the time. She doesn't want the house. So now when she's not there, let me just start. Did the foundation. I'm moving there in the next 2 weeks. I don't want to show you pictures. I will show Elder Sivanda, then he will tell you. What I want to tell you is that if you put something in the subconscious, you begin to work, even if you don't know. Have you seen when you are okay, maybe I don't have a better word. Let me use this word. When you are foolishly in love, like I remember when I was dating my wife, I escort her to home. We reach, she escorts me. We reach, we escort each other. You never did that? You did, eh? I don't know where that passion goes to, afterwards. That's what I want. I want you to have that for investments. Yeah, I mean, that kind of passion where you don't sleep, you are not happy with today. You keep saying, I need to be around this. You know what I mean? Even if it's not yielding what you want. But the first thing is that you must place what you need to write up and down for you to know that you're going to meet it. If you don't jot it down, I'm telling you, if you don't, you won't do it. Just write it. It may look like it's nothing. Every morning, read it. You come and tell me. Have you not tried, if you are reading a Bible verse every morning, that it becomes part of your daily routine? And suddenly people find that you are saying words that others are struggling to say, and you say them seamlessly. It's the same. Now, it must be a culture where you're beginning to do it on a daily basis, and it becomes part of your life. You see, God made us to be humans that are supposed to manage, but the devil creates a situation where he makes us feel lazy that, anyway, I think I'll just scrape through the day. Literally, we just want to breathe oxygen. It shouldn't be like that. So, you see, it's like someone is asking you, what do you do for a living? I breathe oxygen. That's not good, But it's true, for a living you breathe oxygen. But it's exactly that's not what they're asking. But that's what we do essentially, isn't it? For our living is just maybe breathing oxygen and helping nature to go on. I don't think that should be. So you set your goals and set them whether they are short term, long term, and indeed medium term. So you invest or you do an investment, because savings are nothing if you don't do that. Yeah, they will just be there, and they shouldn't be something that you look at in the bank and say, I have money, or I have money at home. I know the first thing is that, Elder, you are not afraid. Fear, I don't know where fear stems from, because even where we are here, no one knows if this can literally keep us. But somehow we stay here. And we are, like the pastor was saying, we're basically faithful human beings. You know what I mean? Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Now, you see, if you look at that definition, faith is a substance of things hoped for. So it's like you have this substance of something you are hoping for. So, or the evidence of things not seen. No one is seeing it, but only you. So faith has got some, if you look at the worldly sense, an element of someone who doesn't look normal. Because you're the only one who sees it. If mad people are chasing something, they're the only ones who see it. In a way, that's how faith is. You're the only one who sees the evidence. No one sees it. When you come and stand in the land, they see you moving like this. They say, whenever he comes, he just walks around his land. They do not know that what you are seeing there is a hotel. And they're making you look like a fool, but God sees what, you know what I mean? So you're moving around. Yeah, when he comes. Have you not seen, if you're building, you find that you go at the site, especially as men, you go at the site, even if you're doing nothing, you're just there. Has it ever happened to you? Your mind is just telling you, it takes you to place. So your recreative power is your subconscious. And many of us don't know that. And I'm telling you, when you grow up, I'm sure most of you have come to know that much more time is better when you're alone. And when you're alone, you begin, of course, you get to know that actually thinking is not a luxury. It's not something that people don't do a lot, you know what I mean? You know that common sense is actually very uncommon. You must have seen that. You find that if you have to think deeply, not everyone thinks deeply like you. And you come to know that thinking is actually sometimes very painful, because it's a recreative power. You see, because in thinking, there is always death that comes, because you are not in the same ambience and thinking capacity like anyone else. It's just like when you put a plant in the soil, it has to die first for it to be a tree. So you are seeing something that has to die, and you're creating something that has to be different from what you are seeing in your eye. So it is something that we fail to plan, because we know that there is that power that we have to use. And many times, many of us would rather just not think and watch, because it's easy to watch. But it's in watching that David found Bathsheba. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So investment start with self-discipline, strengthening the sinew of ignoring funds, strengthening the muscle of ignoring funds. And the first aspect is to win over yourselves. And that's the biggest problem. You know that if we struggle to convince someone, the biggest problem is that we first struggle to convince ourselves. You know that just to convince yourself to stop eating sometimes is difficult if a meal is nice, ka? Or even just something that you like to do, then they tell you, no, this you can, they just tell you, no, you have to stop eating this, and you say, man, Even the doctor tells you that. You understand what I'm saying? When you say, but I mean, when I was, you see, I usually laugh at my friends who've got diabetes, you know. When they were poor, they were not eating meat. Now when they've got money, they're told you can't eat meat. So now they struggle. You understand what I'm saying? They struggle in a way. Then when you tell them, they continue doing it. You know what I mean? Have you not seen that? Doesn't make sense, eh? They tell you that you cannot eat now when you have. And if you look at the time you ate, you only ate for 2-3 years. But when you didn't have was 10 years of nothing. Your country and mine are not different. You remember, okay, maybe ours could have been different, but I remember we used to only eat chicken and rice on Christmas. Even you to say, man. You see, now if you tell me don't eat chicken and you won't go to heaven, I look at you. When I was suffering, was I a candidate of heaven? You understand why sometimes we just need to be Africans. Yeah, no one should reinvent us. That's how we are, So we must understand that. So no one has been forced, if you look at it in your current expenditure pattern. Because if you have not been forced, therein lies the beginning of investment decisions. So if you have not been forced, then you can say, okay, I can also not be forced to start investing. So if it's going to be a struggle to keep money, then it will be a struggle to start investing, because you'll be seeing money staying somewhere and growing, and you're not having to get to use it. So you must learn to just ignore. That you must learn. Ignoring must be your daily. Now, if you are married, you know what I'm talking about. If you can ignore what happens in your marriage, then investment will be easy. You know what I'm saying? There are some things I totally ignore. I was talking again. Sometimes the elder doesn't want to say this. I was the elder here, and maybe I'll include the elder here, because the elder Simon was also there. I mean, you get annoyed. I was teaching the youths. You see, okay, some things you use your mind in a different way. Let me tell you one thing: the things that you are going to do, they may look foolish and not right in the eyes of men, but if you see clarity, do them. Because you don't need anyone to validate you in order to start doing an investment. Because we're in a world where validation is so important. Yeah, so even if you don't get validation, do it anyhow. So I'll use an example that many of us struggle with in a marriage. You go into a toilet as a man. First your wife tells you should always remove this, because you leave traces of urine. How many have gone through that? I mean, even if you are old, So even when I was young, I was told that. So what you do, you just raise it, isn't it? So when you raise it, you do your work. You walk away. You leave it like that, because you come again to do what? You do. Then your wife comes. She's annoyed, man. You're supposed to put it back. Now, you see, for her, she has to sit. You see what I mean? So the problem is not necessarily the function of a toilet being up and down, or the problem of a toilet being up and down. The problem is understanding the function of a woman and a man. So if you understand that, then the toilet won't be a problem. So it's the same in the aspect of investment. You need to look at the function and not the pain that you get. So I told myself, in this arrangement, I am going to be the child. You understand? You know what I mean by a child? Because now I'm the one who will be listening to my wife. So if she doesn't budge, I'll be the child. So if she says, put it back. So whenever I do, when I walk, I look back. Make sure I put it back. Not because she's given me kolio or something for me to be under a pit call, but because I know that this is not the issue here. The issue is that she's made different from me. And me succumbing to that is succumbing to the understanding that we are different people. I'm not here for family life. I'm just talking about investments. I just thought you should know, because in this aspect, that's the next point I'm getting to. I was trying to say that at the core of every investment decision is a man and woman that is willing to forego their daily wants and learn to plan to budget. It is also right to state that if you are currently struggling with your finance, it is very likely that there's a lot about your own financial strategy that you do not know. Someone once said, if you're not successful as you would like to be, there's something you do not know. Find out and learn. So, are there people who are not successful as they want to be? Then find out and learn. That's why we're here, isn't it? Now, I know the problem with the issues we're talking about stems from covetousness. Failing to live within our means. When we fail to deal with desire and covetousness, we should not be surprised that we have no money. Do you know that everything you see and desire, you get at all costs? Are there some situations where when you are looking, you see, I must get that at all costs? Have you had such a situation? If you can get that at all costs, then you are putting everything that is you to make it happen, isn't it? You must have the same desire and create an ambience that your mind should also want to do the same investment, that you can do everything that you want to do it. So before I go to these investment decisions or options, I want you to understand that all of these stem from you making that decision. And let me tell you one thing. The essence of what you're going to invest in is very easy. It's like a budget. You know that many of us can do a budget, but we'll still walk away from it. You know that the problem is not a budget. Huh? So even if I told you today a budget, you find that you deviate from it. Man, why am I troubling myself? I must enjoy. Tomorrow I may die. You see already you're telling yourself things that are not right. You know, you can even die today. So it's not an issue of whether you're going to die or not. It's a decision that you've said because you want to eat now. So it's desire that is overtaking your current need to invest. And it's always winning. So you're failing to win over yourself. And if you're failing to win over yourself, how can you win on anyone? And you see, I was telling the mothers yesterday, I said, if you don't know how much yogurt your child is eating, that's when you find that when your children, whenever they come, they open the fridge all the time. You know what I mean? They think that there's food all the time. And they grow up to be like that. And in the end, they grow up just to know how to destroy. And when they come, they must find food. And when there's no food, they just have a problem. So they have no desire to learn to stop when to eat. So in the end, whatever they have, they just know it must go. So if they have such a background, you know that even them are just going to be like you. And I was telling the youth that no is a complete statement. And many of you must say no many times than you say yes. Then you learn to invest. So if your instinct is to do something, quickly say no and believe it is. Now you live in a world when someone says no, you want them to explain. No is no. 2 letters, no. There's no need to explain. In fact, if you try, I say no, you try me to explain. I say, please don't, Satan, go behind me. I don't have to. I've said no. You see, for us, no is like someone saying, okay, come, keep asking. Keep asking. When the Bible says flee from sin, you don't crawl hoping that sin will find you. You understand? So for us, you're saying, I went to this shop. I found chocolate. I walked this side. Then I found it. I walked this side. I found it. Then I saw it was a sign I had to buy. Then you see, I tried. Trying is not no. I hope you understand. I am getting to that aspect which you want me to say, but that is why Luke 15 says, suppose you want to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? That's Jesus speaking. Luke 15 verse 28. You didn't think Jesus would talk about budgeting, would you? But he says it. I said, this guy, he was telling us everything we need to know. And if there's a book that gives us an understanding where all of these things are, it's a Bible. We don't even need to fight it. But why then do we fight it? Because we want our desires to always take precedence. Now, I've said about Proverbs 6, verse 6 to 11. The problem is that anything that has to be done, there must be planning, and planning is critical to investment. Okay. Have you not seen that our behavior is more like Haggai 1 verse 6, which says, you have planted much, but harvested little. You eat, but never have enough. You drink, but never have your fill. You put on clothes, but they are not warm. You earn wages only to put them in a house with a hose in it. We cannot talk about investment to people who are using money for tomorrow today. It's difficult. There's a saying, it is easier to act yourself in the new way of thinking than to think yourself in the new way of acting. I'll say it again. It is easier to act yourself in the new way of thinking than to think yourself in the new way of acting. If we do not invest, it is likely that we'll either get paid for decisions you made years ago or you pay for decisions you made years ago. The choice is yours. So if you are poor, you have made that decision. So right now, there's a likelihood that you are paying for those decisions. So we must create a framework. Let's start and look at the available avenues. What do we have here as avenues of investments? Saving, I'm told you can save even home. Saving is not necessarily that you need to put it in a bank, because when you put it in the bank, you actually lose the value, because they start getting what? Yeah, I actually never put money in the bank. I'm actually, when I go to Lusaka, I want to remove everything that I have in the bank. I always just have 200 kwacha in the bank, because it doesn't bring anything. I look for places where it will grow. For me, every kwacha must be growing. Every day, even if it's growing by 0.1 ingwe, it's growing. Sorry, guys. Hey, young people, please come in. Let them come in. Allow me to behave like Jesus here. Allow me to hey, come, guys, come. Have you come from somewhere? You are looking for me. Yeah, please come. Who has sent you? Mr. GCJ. Thank you very much. Yes. Who told you?
You have a question for us?
Yes. Who told you? Yes. Very good. Very good. Jesus says, let the children come to you, isn't it? Here you go. You can go now. No, that's the only one. Okay, you can go. Yeah. Yeah. And children nice, eh? I just imagine if they were not there. Yeah, you see, they just make your day right. Yeah. They are so cool. I mean, you can be so annoyed with them when they are not there. You even feel empty. Yeah, I mean they are the only one that make you complete. Yeah, I mean any other thing, nothing. These do. Yeah. Let's talk about. I mean, the return for saving is completely nothing. Sometimes even low, but it's still a way of what beginning the journey of investments. So the issue is, even if it's low, start with investment, savings. Because subsequently, when the growth reaches a point where you can take it to grow somewhere, you can do that. But even when you are saving little, look for a place where you can take it to begin to grow. But please start with saving. As little as it may be, do it. The problem is that we're looking at how minute it is. It doesn't matter how minute it is, because you understand that Proverbs 13 verse 11 says, dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. So the problem is not necessarily not investing. It's starting, because saving is not necessarily an investment. Are we together? It's actually is part of that income you set aside to spend at a future date. And your first instance for saving is that at any given time, if you are working or you are running a business, you must have enough money 6 months of your current daily expense. What happens when COVID hits you? You saw now COVID taught us all of that, isn't it? Eh? We were gone. I mean, all of us. Everything closed. Eh? Everything closed, literally. And I remember in our country, private schools, they were literally pleading, please pay. But our children are not there. And I was saying, you see, the owner, I was even telling, I went to tell one of my cousins is running one of the schools. I says, you see, that's a problem. Because you are depending on us. You should have been keeping money. Eh? So now you should treat us well, you see. We are saviors after all. And it was so long that I'm telling you, they became so poverty-stricken, the teachers. The problem was not COVID. The problem was that we did not plan. Even now, I'm sure all of us have got that kind of attitude, because we just feel that we need to continue living, because we've lived 10 years and we didn't have a sickness, we didn't have a problem. It will hit one day and we'll see. I'm telling you, until now, when your wife starts moving around to your daughters, you realize that, oh, I'm now alone. Then you see that I need to start keeping. I'm telling you, daughters will only come home when you've got money. They can't come if you're broke, you know, huh? Now, I don't know if you have unit trust here, but it's a good way of keeping money. Now, in Zambia, banks even give them. Now, I've said multiple times, and I'll say it here. When you're talking about unit trust, I was just a week before, I was looking at, in South Africa, the unit trust. I was looking at how you just go to the website and you talk to them, and they tell you how they can get the money. And in Zambia, you basically just need to come. I know for you, you are surprised. How do we? It's up to you. You can even start by having a cooperative here. The problem is that many of you don't. So what we did, this problem of school fees, what we did before I got to unit trust, we sat down with my peers who were in school at one time at a university. We said, man, we are tired of asking little monies. Like the guys were saying, we're asking for little monies, every little money from these companies. Said, okay, let's do this. Let's have each person have shares of 10,000 kwacha, share of 1,000, which is 10 shares. So we all put 10,000 kwacha as shares, and we say, okay, every month someone will be putting 500 kwacha. And now what was so strange then is that I've got friends that were coming with these big cars. 500 was a problem to bring. So we have built it, but some people have remained on 1,500. But it has gone to a point where every year that I've even seen a text, they're asking me to produce the financials. The money is now going towards over 500,000 to just 3 years ago. So what happens now, what I've seen is that when everyone is January we take children to school, everyone just comes to get money. Now, what I've seen, why that works is that in this group, we charge 1.5% per month, which is very minimum and it's nothing. Now, on top of that, we don't struggle, we don't push you. So even if you take if you're supposed to pay in a year, you are paying little, well, okay. That's why we opened it in the first place, so that we don't have to go to the bank and begin to beg. No. So we stopped begging. Now what we are seeing is that every time, so we had given this bank this money. So when we gave it to them, when the government came, they somehow changed the rates and they went down. So they were saying, no, the rates are down. We can only give you 12 to 14%. So, and the guy who was saying that even wrote to us an email and says, no, we actually, if you think you want the money, get it. He was insulting us. So we went round, in a competitive market, microfins were getting the money, same amount of money at 20%. So we wrote back and said, send this money to this microfin. Then they said, no, but why are you taking there? You can leave it here, we can talk. We said, no, we don't talk to people who chase us. So that microfin is giving us that money in 2 months' time. So in 2 months' time, again, I'm sure those now, because they know, they're going to call us. So there is everyone. The off-takers are many. There are many in the market. So even you see, for bonds in Zambia, the issue is that you don't need to be Zambian to do them. You just have to be a human being. That's all. Same with many other places. Do you know that 90% of Chinese bonds are with Americans? Oh, you didn't know? I'm telling you. That's why we need to start thinking outside the box. It's not necessarily a lot of money to start, but you can. And now the problem is that I know that the biggest problem is that you don't trust each other. You start trusting each other and say, let's begin to build a base of funds. And if you are 20 or 50 of you, you end up having $3 or $4 million. Are you going to go and beg a bank? It's a bank that will be begging you to keep the money in their bank. So you can tell them, if you continue treating us like we're taking it to that bank, then they'll be saying, no, don't take it there. So you'll see that they'll be following you to your offices. And you see you'll have private banking people that will be talking to you. That's what happens when you have money. Even if I'm here, if I want to make a payment, I just write an email and say, pay this one. I find that they'll have paid. Because you have the money. And you want to move it, you just move it. The issue is that how the strength of your numbers can change how the banks look at you. But you see, you love being individual parts. But you see the summation of those parts that make you stronger. So sit, and you see, we only sit here the whole week. Sit and see if you can have a financial framework that can change your financial power tomorrow. So you can do that. And out of that, you can even make something. Now, like I've said, unit trusts are many. And for your own information, like unit trust in Zambia, the people that are creating the software to run unit trust, mostly are Zimbabweans. You didn't know? Yes. All the companies that I've got shares in and I sit on the board, they're all Zimbabweans. that would do, and those owners of those companies keep coming, and they come and we use them, and you, the owners, don't even want to do it. I find that to be very strange. You understand? So you have the knowledge, the technical know-how, the intelligence, but you would rather other people do it. It's annoying, isn't it? That's my intention, to get you annoyed. You understand that this can be done, eh? And bonds, like I've said, bonds, you don't need, when you have the money here, I know maybe sometimes you'll have a problem, but then you create, you see, you create a company there and it's easy. You don't need to be there. You can have directors there and 50%, maybe one or two. Then you have the shareholding yourselves. And you, by virtue of opening a company, you have a tipping, and that tipping is good enough for you to open a bank account. We don't say you a foreigner for you to be a director and opening. Then you begin to manage that account here using internet here. Then when that money gets into your account, it's in Zambia, but you begin to move it because it's easy to move money there. You move. You see that this is something we can do, eh? Yeah. Let me speak long because I've seen that people are praying for me. I don't know if there are wealth builder schemes here. Usually insurance companies do that. But they basically are teaching a way of saving. In Zambia, they're what we call private placements. You get money to a microfin. I have, I think, 2 or 3 of them. You get money to microfin, you give them, then they give you a rate. Literally, they will tell you, give us money to give someone. There are always people looking for money. But it should not be you. Are we getting? And they are getting as low as 10,000 kwacha. And all you do is sign a contract, immediately finish, they'll send it back to your account. Most of the time, they'll tell you, can we go on? And it keeps growing. And you reach a point where suddenly they will just say, can you become an equity holder? Then you can be here, but you have a company. So that's what I'm saying, that you can build everywhere. It doesn't have to be here. Because that has been the complaint by everyone. No, Zim. No, you are in Sadiq. And it's opening up. Yeah, it's opening up. And many of you possibly are getting contracts everywhere. So why can't you do the same and have presence everywhere? And just understand the corporate culture in the other country and you move on. And that becomes easy for you to move. Okay. Like I said, cooperative, or what we call in Zambia village banking. The women asked me there, the moms, they told me they want me to give them the structure of a village bank. I'm sending it to them on Monday. What they need to do. It's just a write-up. You don't need to take money to the bank. It can be among yourselves. But you see, the only part, make sure is that you must have friends that can bring the money. Not those, when they get the money, they disappear. You know such friends, eh? You know. So make sure you look for friends that can bring the money back. You know, in Africa, we get money and ask for debt structure. You know, that's what and you see, I was laughing when our president got the debt restructuring strategy. Some people who were getting the debt, he said, no, you shouldn't have gotten the debt structure. You should have just gotten the debt forgiveness. So someone said, you are getting money with the hope that you are not going to pay. You know, that's how we are. Huh? We want to get and disappear, and they should not find us, so that we don't bring. That's our culture, because, you know, our countries, we've received a lot. You know, I remember when we were young, our president, then Kaunda, would give us coupons for meal, each family. So we are helping him plunder the economy. You know what I mean? So what family used to do is that they would register you, like I used to say with my grandparents, they registered me there. Then at my mother's house, in another area, they registered me. So they were getting a coupon for me. So they would get a coupon which was buying meal here using my name. I was not registered, I was young. They also get here. So then you say they plundered the economy when we are also eating. You know what I mean? So whatever profit that was coming from copper, they were just distributing. So what they were doing essentially was to distribute poverty. I know even here it was happening when you're at the boom, isn't it? RGM was doing the same. Okay? Now I'm sure you're condemning on some of the things, but even your growth, some of it, he helped in helping to plunder. So self-retrospection will help on that one. Are we together? Yeah. Now, government securities, I don't know here, safe to deal with this because these usually, they have zero risk. Now, let me tell you about this. In Zambia, just last year and the last 2 years, over 50% of the bank's profitability came from bonds and government securities in Zambia. Now, ask yourself, banks are making money from the money market, but you are taking money to them. Surely there must be something wrong with you. And you see, the problem with that kind of sickness, you don't need drink Panado to be well. You know what I'm saying? Okay, for me, I call that foolishness. And foolishness, you don't need malaria or you don't need to go to the hospital to drink. It's a terrible, you need to change to know that, okay, if banks are going there, it must be juicy there. But you are taking to them. They're also doing the same. Find and take your money there. I'm giving you situations that you should need to do. The next one. There's a saying that says, don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. You know what happens. Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and what? Wait. You know what I'm talking about. We live in the same kind of understanding. Then it grows every year. It grows. Just the land that I built in Lando, there's another piece of land I bought at 160,000. It is 1.5 acres. Friends nearby, they're now cutting them into 30 by 50, 30 by 20. They are selling at 500,000. Just 2016 and today. You see what I mean? I'm still waiting. You understand what I'm saying? I'll wait for 10 years. And let me tell you, when the land is scarce, God is not creating anymore. You know, people he is creating. But land. Have you heard maybe in Zimbabwe there's some land that he created recently? Elder Chimuka, you see? So you know that the people are growing. Yeah, man. You know what I'm talking about. So, and I know here you are just not different from us. Livestock farming. Growth can be slow and exponential over time. But its key is management. Don't just get into it because the others are doing it. Yeah, because our president is very good at this. He has a lot of cattle. Just 2 weeks ago, he went to his farm, man. And all of us were saying, okay, this is a different level. And he always says that, when I leave, I've got goats, I'm going to keep them. And we know he's got them. And the land where they are, many of the guys there, they're big guys with cattle. And he keeps on saying, you just need to start. In 5 years, you'll be different. But the issue with all of us is that we are unable to deal with that incubation period. That period of waiting, which is difficult and hard, and maybe you'll have nothing and you lose. We don't want it. We feel that we should just gloss over it. It can't happen, you know what I mean? You just have to go through it as hard as it is. So the issue is to accept and say 3 years is going to be difficult. And after that, it will take off. And it will be very slow until you reach a point. But the issue is that you keep putting in. But in putting in, there is a lot of ignoring. That's what we are not good at. That's a problem. Now, you see, people think that shares are like tomato at the market. You know? You didn't know? It's basically like tomato at the market. Yeah. It's like going to the market. You find a lot of people saying shares. You buy what you want. Now, except these, they'll be traded there. So you wait. Again, there is a lot of waiting. Now, on shares, you are not sure whether they will grow or they come down. So, but there are many places where you can buy. Johannesburg Stock Exchange. I don't know if you've got a stock exchange here. You've got a lot in the region. Buy. Because in some cases, you find that there's more benefit in buying shares than even building a house. But your mixture of portfolio must be in such a way that it is a mix that can help you at any given time, that if this one falls, you can rely on this one. But is there a risk? Yes. Are you going to lose? Yes. But you must be sure that you know how to navigate your risk and reduce it. That's essentially even our life. I mean, if you are driving, you are running away from potholes, isn't it? You know there are potholes, eh? Even as you are walking here, you found there are a lot of, but you have to navigate. It's the same with investments, except it's money. And many of us don't want to talk about that. Now, let me say this, because I have seen, now there are different kinds of shares. There's ordinary and preference shares. These vary, and growth can be slow and exponential. Now, I have seen in our country there is a problem with pyramid schemes, quick money making schemes. Are they here? In fact, they're even in the church. Bring the money and sow as a seed. Church is not a seed sowing, I'm telling you. For seed sowing for church is the word of God, not money. You understand? You get what I'm saying? Yeah, because money has to be taken where it's supposed to grow, where the money is. Here it's just tithe and offering. Bring it. You know what you're supposed to do. Not you come and give a papa and so that you can have a shoe that looks like that out of your money. And we can really be gullible on this one. I don't know why. And I'm telling you, you and us are not different on that one. We are terribly gullible, and not only that, we are very docile. I don't know why countries that have been run by the British are like this. If you look at all of us, we take time to react. We always are a volcano. And when we react so hard that we mess up even everything. You know what I mean? You've seen, ka? Yeah. And when you want to change, your change is also terrible. You find that you change worse. I saw it in my country. I won't say much. These are time of elections. So please don't go for quick money making schemes. You know what I mean? Don't do that. You must understand that this quick money. You guys are back here. They want to make an announcement. Let me allow them. You see, they are getting before I tell them. That's a good. You see the confidence I was telling you, it's us who remove it.
So, church, is there a female master guide from Zambia? A female master guide.
And where is Pastor Mazuba?
Yeah. Yes, from Zambia. Guys, you're killing us from hunger. We want chocolates, please. Any information give us. We want chocolates.
They are looking for a female master guide. Are you sure that it was here? Okay, maybe go to the youth. Thank you. Yeah, you see how nice it is, eh? Man. These people. You know, if there are cakes, you can eat them. It's so nice. Okay. You find that the people who tell you, I'd give me 5,000 and I'll give you 50,000. You have such? And you go and give them. Now, recently in Zambia, we had, as I'm coming to the close of this, the boy that was doing this was actually our member at a church. He was a member a long time ago. So he was telling them that bring 3-5 in 21 months, I'll give you 70,000. Now the problem is that the people who are giving are even some people in church. So I kept on telling them, you guys, anything that looks too good to be true, just know it's not. Elder, you don't understand. I said, yeah, okay. I teach like this every moment I'm given at church, and all the time I stand. Especially last year, I was almost every week. Whenever I have chance, I'll tell you guys. And they kept on doing it, and now, you see, these are the people who are getting money. And you see, for you to get money, you need to have a license anywhere. They didn't have a license, but government pounced on them, and they found that they had over 179 million. Then those who lost now in the church who were quiet, they said, I still took because I hate people are getting. And they were caught, and the company has been closed, and people have lost the money. Even here, if I start telling you that there is money, just bring. You bring. Please. You have struggled. You've worked for it 10 years. How can someone make it in 10 months? Now, I was telling him that if this guy, I was telling him, if this guy is making 3-5 and he makes it 70,000 after 21 months, then let him go to the bank and get the money. So that after 21 months, he can give the bank back the money and he makes more. Why is he not going to the bank? Now, you are not even thinking of that. I told them, you see, you can't tell me because the bank has got more money. So if he can make more than the bank, let him go and do it. Why doesn't he go to the bank? Because the bank is a big guy. You, as little entities, you can't do anything until they started failing to pay. Then they were caught. You cannot do that. If it took you 20 years to raise 20,000, what makes you think that the guy can make it easy? These are the problems that we've created for ourselves, but we can do much more. Is there something that I've missed that you people do here that maybe I can elaborate more? But what I want to say is this. If you start investment, this part is critical. Now, before I allow you, ma'am, let me just say this. Do you know, you've heard of Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation? Very clever chaps, those. You've heard of a foundation by this guy, Facebook guy, eh? He's got a foundation as well, yeah? Yeah, you know he's got a foundation. Now, these guys, what they do, they are very clever. It's one of the way in which now when you grow your income, you can play around. They have this company, it's making profits, okay? So when it makes a lot of profit, they now get $1 billion and take it to Melinda Gates Foundation. You understand? The trustees of that foundation are Melinda Gates, the husband, and the children. All these guys are basically doing is that they're appropriating the profits. Now, in the foundation, they don't pay tax. In the organization, they are paying tax. But the donation from here to there is no tax computation. So they would rather have less to pay here, and they come and appropriate that money, and they give 55 million to Africa to do malaria, the rest they use it. Or you didn't see that? And they end up creating what we call clusters of what we can say a unit that they use as a family. So trust what? What do you call trust what? Trust funds. I mean, they open a trust. Even in Zambia, I think even here you have. So what they do in a trust is that every money is owned by the trust, and the children are the owners. Okay, all of them. Now what they do is that other than the trust, some of them have opened insurance companies. And these insurance companies, or they, in this same trust, they take the money to the insurance companies for life assurance. So what happens is that when any of the children die, the money goes where? For the insurance. Now, if we, by any chance, my children that are in the trust get married, only them, only my children can get what? Can get money from the trust. If they are married to a foolish man or they are married to a foolish woman, they will have no part to play because I will have closed everything. And when the children are born, only the children that are attached to my children will have part to that. And it keeps on going like that. But us, we don't do anything. Then the grandmother or the auntie who came, I used to put him at the back when he was young. Then they come and get all the money. They become the trust themselves. Then they want to carry a fridge to a place where there's no. Yes, ma'am. Sorry. Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. I'm very sorry. I did not. I was just thinking that I was sorry. Let me explain like bonds. Let me start from bonds. Essentially, a bond is the opposite of a loan that you are getting. It's an organization getting the money from you and keeping it and giving it, ring fencing with an interest, saying that they'll give it to you at a given time. Now, in some cases, you can decide that you can get, in some cases, you can decide to get interest upfront. Like in Zambia, you can go and say, okay, get this money, give me interest upfront. Then they give you that interest. Then you take it to another place again and place it. You see how clever I can be? So it's growing and your interest is also growing. You see that all of these things are there, but all you know is tomato and onion. You are not interested in this. Then for private placement, again, it's in the same understanding. For private placement, they usually, in our country, microfins are the ones that like that kind of money. They have a lot of people, especially in government, that are looking for money every day. In fact, microfins, we find that there are some places where there's a queue. Now they run out of liquid capital to give them. So they look around and look for people who have money. So if they know you have, they'll tell you, please give us. So you give them privately that amount, but they will give you a write-up. You agree that, okay, you're getting this money, and you're at this period, you're going to give me this much. So if you want to give them for 3 months, give them for 3 months. But please don't leave 50,000 or whatever amount of dollar just staying in the bank. Give it to such people that even if it's growing at a slow pace, it's growing. So you give them, then they'll write, then after 3 months, they'll give it back to you at the time you need it. And what we were doing with building funds in our churches, that's what we're doing. We'd give it to them. After 6 months, they give us back. We're growing it little by little. So that is a private placement. So that is critical for you to know that you can do it without necessarily. And it's like for unit trust in Zambia, it's 50 kwacha. That's the little amount that you can take, which is about $2.50, about $3. That's what you're allowed to take slowly. It doesn't have to be a lot. The same way the ant builds, they bring, an ant bring a small thing, yeah, because they do it on a daily basis. Now imagine how much $3 you waste in a week, or even in a day. Even today, I'm sure some of you wasted it. You know what I'm saying? So usually I always say that Africans, we had cell phones before everyone had. You remember? Our parents used to just look like this. A long time ago before cell phones were there. Just wondering and where the money went, you know what I mean? So we are happy sometimes to have this opium called salary. And they make us go there every month to drink it. And we become 5 years, we become accustomed to it, and it becomes part of our DNA. Without it, we feel that oxygen will go. So we keep going there. And we don't need to plan because it's going to be there anyhow. So in the end, we grow, we reach 50 years. And when it's gone, we are surprised it's gone. Then after 2 years, we get depressed. Then slowly, when we are busy, suddenly we are so committed in church. We come into church, or we have nothing now. The only thing we have is church. Then we become a problem to those who have money and say, we don't have. Then when they are trying to run a program, you are the one who is there. And every program you are there, but there's nothing you're doing other than your word. What you bring is just you. And sometimes it's just you reading things that you don't understand and creating more problems for others. You know what I'm talking about, huh? Yeah, because you didn't plan. Now I don't want you to do that anymore. I ran an auditing firm with an old man. He's 78 years old. For that auditing firm, we make over $1 million. And we share. He's ever busy. And when you look at him, you think he's 60. That's what happens when you plan your life. Yeah, please, come. The issue is that if you plan, I've told myself, I don't know if in the Bible there's anyone you heard retired. Is there anyone? You heard that, okay, this one retired. If you are retired, it's God who just retired you. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's anyone. Maybe there's a verse. I have not seen one. I mean, maybe the older people that have read more, I am looking for one so that I can find room to retire. Because I personally have told myself, yes, I can retire from someone else's thing, but I'll do my own. Maybe so at the back there's somewhere where you read that you retire. So 55, some people, when you have the energy, 55, they tell you should retire. It's annoying. Now if you're getting a lot of money and suddenly you're retiring. You see, the problem with that kind of thing is that you continue living like you were living before. The problem with the expenditure, it doesn't just stop. You just think that it's coming, but you're eating what has remained. Then when it goes, you wonder where it has gone. Then the next thing you find that what was was called respect, you saw that maybe the respect was attached to the money after all. And even when someone is bypassing, you think that they're just ignoring you because you're not working, even when they're just busy. So you end up just beginning to think low of yourself, and low. Eventually, you lower yourself to the ground. Then we bury you. Am I saying something that looks like it happens? So that's why I'm saying start investing, because you'll be going up. You look at these guys who are investing, the big guys who are there. They retire. He says, I'm retiring from Microsoft. He's going to Melinda Gates Foundation. He's getting more money now. Isn't it strange? And you are saying, no, he has retired. No, he's now eating. You understand? Yeah, because he's getting the money. He's giving himself. You check. They every year, they do $1 billion. Don't you see that all the billionaires keep saying that we'll give the money to the Melinda Gates Foundation? And they're also trustees on the same board. So by being trustee, you are paid, isn't it? So when they are paid there's no tax. They are not down. They know what they're doing. Now, those of us who are in accounting and the tax, we read, we say, okay, this is what is happening. And the government can't hammer them because they're employing a lot of people, and they know that they are helping. And you see, if you look at the malaria, or even just look at the money they give for what do you call this, COVID? Was it $1 billion? No. But you look at the money that came to them. Look at their financials. Look at the income that they have. That's what these people do. If they want, you see, rich people, what they do is that if they want to make sure that the government doesn't make money, they look for a cause they like. They create, in that cause they like, they become trustees, even in another country. Then they'll register a company there for an NGO. I've got 2 of them that I do consultants for. Then they start sending money to that country. Then in that country, they get an amount that comes from their country. And in a country like ours, they know that there's no tax for such. They're happy. Now when they come, they out of the same, they'll build a condo or some things. You won't ask them. When they come, they look at the animals and they go back. And they're enjoying. They won't die now. But for you, when you are on holiday at a camp meeting, it's a problem. God forgive you. I know you are not happy, but I wanted you to be annoyed. Unless there's something else, I think I'm done. Am I making sense? Usually, I know in the afternoon it's difficult. I've seen a lot of people. You see, I have no problem when you're dozing. Usually, the best place to doze is in church. I'm telling you, it's so nice. Even as you're fighting it, you're not happy, you know, huh? All of you are dozing. I was seeing you are struggling, but I was saying, no, man, you're in your father's house. Let it go. God bless you all. Hey.